Hi friends, welcome to IELTS Smart Prep. I am Simranjeet and today we'll be talking about the listening section in the IELTS exam. Particularly, we'll be discussing about the structure as well as the grading of this section. So without further ado, let's get started. As I mentioned in my previous video, the listening is the first section in this exam. It is followed by reading and writing, and speaking happens on a different day. The primary task of the listening section in the IELTS exam is to evaluate the candidate's proficiency in oral communication. For instance, A and B are two people who are talking to each other. How well can B listen to A and understand what A is trying to communicate? This is the basic premise on which the listening section is based. So let's understand the structure of the listening section. The section primarily has 4 parts and each part has 10 questions. The first part is basically a conversation between two speakers in a social context. For instance, it could be a conversation about a travel arrangement wherein a customer could be speaking to a travel agent to book a ticket for a train or say a bus. The second part of this section would be a monologue. Now, a monologue is basically a speech or a talk with just one person. Now, again, this would be in a social context. For instance, speech about local facilities. The third part would be a conversation between 2 or 3 people in an academic context. For instance, 2 university students guided by a tutor, right? And the fourth part would be a monologue on an academic subject. An example could be a simple lecture. It's important to note that the first 2 parts deal with situations set in everyday social contexts, and the final 2 parts deal with situations set in educational and training contexts. Now, the recordings are only heard once. We have to remember that they wouldn't be replayed, so we have to completely understand and pay attention to the recording so that we do not miss anything. And these recordings could include a range of accents. Now, these accents could be British, Australian, New Zealand, American, or Canadian. But it's important to note that 85% of the times it would be British accent, since this test was created by Cambridge University. So, moving on, the total time duration for listening section in the IELTS exam is 40 minutes and the audio is played for 30 minutes. It's important to note that if we are attempting a paper-based exam, this holds true. We are given 30 minutes to write answers on a question paper, and we'll be given additional 10 minutes to transfer those questions from the question paper to the answer sheet. I'll show you both the question paper as well as the answer sheet in the next slide. But keep in mind, if you opt for the online exam, you'll only be given 30 minutes to write the answers and an additional 2 minutes to review the answers. You wouldn't be given the 10 minutes to transfer your answers as in case with paper based, because we'll be directly writing the answers on the computer. So this is how a question paper looks like, and this is how an answer sheet looks like. For each set of questions, we'll be given word count limit and we need to pay attention to it. For instance, this sample question paper has a word limit stating no more than 2 words and or a number. So each of the blanks can only have at most 2 words and or a number. And remember, if we write anything more than the prescribed word limit or word count, we'll be penalized for that, and that answer would be marked as incorrect. So please pay attention to it. Also note that since this is an English exam, if we make a spelling error, our answer would be marked as incorrect. We have to make sure that we write the correct spellings. And now, as of 2020, the example that we are given at the top of the question paper is also removed. Now, this is the final answer sheet that we are given. Like when you're listening to the audio, you write answers in these blanks for each of the question as and when they appear. And finally, in the last 10 minutes, you'll have to write these answers according to the question number. Like you have to write 1 in 1, you have to write 2 in 2, and so on. You get the idea. Now let's move to the type of questions that we can see in the listening section of the exam. The first one is notes, summary, table, or flowchart completion. Basically, in this, you would be required to complete notes, a summary, table, or a flowchart with suitable words within the word limit given. Okay. The next one is the simple multiple choice questions. As we all know, we'll be given options and we'll have to choose the correct option. But it's important to note, if 3 alternatives are given, we'll have to choose 1 correct answer. If 5 alternatives are given, we'll have to choose 2 answers. So please read all the options very carefully. The third is short answer questions. These would be simple blanks wherein we'll have to answer those questions according to the word limit given. The next one is sentence completion. It's the same as it sounds. We'll have to complete a sentence with a suitable word or words within the word limit given. Next is labeling a diagram, plan, or a map. It is possible that we might be given certain diagrams or a map, and we'll have to label that diagram with suitable words by choosing from a box of answers or by directly filling in the word. And the final is matching. This is similar to match the following that we used to do in our school days. We'll be given a list of statements and a list of possible answers, and we'll have to match both of them. This covers all the types of questions that can be asked. Now, since we are awarded +1 marks for each correct answer, the maximum marks that we can score are 40, and based on our score, the required bands are calculated. You can have a look at this table. For instance, if we score 39 or 40, we are awarded 9 bands. If we score 37 to 38, we are awarded 8.5 bands, and so on. You can pause the video, have a look at this table. Next, I'll be discussing an example with you guys. This is an example of section 1 from the exam. Please make sure that you hear the recording carefully and try to answer the questions simultaneously while hearing the recording, just as you would be doing in the exam. Because with this, we'll get a fair idea of where we stand now and how should we plan out our preparation. Don't worry, this is just an example to try out for the first time. I'll be making more videos covering different examples, explaining different approaches on how we should proceed with the listening section. Please subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon to receive notifications for any new videos that we update. So let's continue with the example.
Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a bank clerk called Jeanette and a man who is asking for information on investing money. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
This is Citibank. You're speaking with Jeanette. How may I help you today?
Hi. I'd like to ask a few questions about a term deposit.
Certainly. Do you currently have any investments with us?
Yes, I do, but my term deposit is due to mature soon, and I've come to find out my options for renewing and extending it. I'm considering a range of different investments, to be honest, but I wanted to begin with the simplest option.
Okay, sir. Well, before we begin, I just need to verify your ID. Can I have your name, please?
David Marshall. That's M for mother. ARSHALL.
Thank you, David. Now, I just need to ask you a couple of security questions. What's your mobile phone number?
023-561055.
And your date of birth, please?
18th of February, 1968.
Right. So I've got your account information in front of me. You've currently got $18,000 on a term of 180 days. That's at a rate of 3.45% per year or per annum.
Okay, so what are my options? Can we start by looking at 1 and 2 year terms?
We can do that. Let's see. Right. If we put it on a 1-year term, we can offer you a yearly return of 3.65%. And for 2 years, it's 3.7%. Oh no, hang on. Sorry, we have a special deal on that term right now at 3.85%.
Okay. So what does that mean in dollars?
Just one moment and I'll bring it up. Okay, so the total interest earned would be $657 for 1 year, and I'm just bringing up the 2-year figure for you. A 2-year term at 3.85% interest, that's a total of $1,412 interest on maturity.
Right. That's about a $700 difference.
Yes, a bit more actually.
Okay. Oh, a friend of mine told me he gets his term deposit interest paid into his account every month. Do you have a monthly interest option?
Yes, actually, we do offer that on term deposits, but only on investments of $20,000 or more.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10.
Can I ask if you've considered a PIE as an alternative investment option?
A pie?
Yes, it stands for Personal Investment Entity. It's an investment trust. Your earnings tend to be higher than they are for a term deposit because 28% is the maximum tax on those earnings.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I've heard of those, but I've never really understood them. I thought they were called pies. They always sounded like something you eat. But I'd sure like to get a bigger slice of my investment pie.
Well, with a PIE, your investment return changes depending on how much tax you normally pay.
Oh, I see. According to my income bracket.
Yes, that's right. For example, on a 2-year plan, if you're earning in the range between $48,001 to $70,000 at 30% tax, there's a 3.75% effective rate on PIE earnings.
Okay. I'm actually on a 33% tax rate.
Well, that's an even better return. If you're earning between $70,001 and $120,000, the effective interest rate is higher too. So let's have a look for a 2-year investment. The rate actually goes up to 3.92%.
Wow. Okay. So a PIE may be the better option. Better than a term deposit, I mean. And can I do that with an $18,000 investment?
Yes, the minimum deposit for a PIE investment is $10,000.
Okay. And are there any hidden charges?
No fees at all for investing in a PIE.
Well, that's good news. Oh, wait a minute. What about interest payment options? Is it the same as the term deposits? You have to have a minimum deposit to be eligible for monthly payments?
Let me check the options here. Well, you'll be pleased to hear that there's actually more flexibility with PIEs than with term deposits. You can opt to have your interest paid every month, quarterly, 6-monthly, or yearly.
Okay. Well, that's given me something to think about.
Would you like to apply today?
No. I'll have to think about it, thanks.
Certainly. If you do decide to go ahead with it, applications are processed in 2 days, as long as you have a bank account with us, which you do. You can apply on our website, by phone, or pop into one of our branches.
Great. Thanks for your help.
That is the end of section 1.
Now friends, you would have tried the example. So let's see what the answers are. These are the answers. Please mark yourselves on how well you have scored, as it is important to know where you are currently to plan out your preparation. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. If you have any question or doubts, feel free to write them in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel. Press the bell icon to receive the notifications. Thank you and have a good day.